Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mike and magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Welcome to all our viewers and subscribers sa mga millions and millions of viewers natin. Maraming salamat po sa panonood nyo at pakikinig nyo sa amin every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Sa mga hindi pa subscriber, please subscribe. Isa naman pong magandang episode ang gagawin natin ngayong gabi because it's my first time, it's my privilege na ang guest po natin ngayong gabi, hindi po ito doktor, hindi po ito lawyer, actually lawyer po pala siya, but ibang field ang kakausapin natin, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong gabi. But anyway, siguro po yung kung taga Hong Kong kayo, kakilala nyo po ang ating guest ngayon. And maraming pong salamat sa kanya at nag-yes po siya nung in-invite ko po siya. And I've started my career dito sa Hong Kong in terms of public service sa ating mga kababayang OFWs because of him. When he invited me, ilang years na ba? Around 8 years, 9 years ago, para po mag-talk ako sa Philippine Consulate. But before that, let me introduce our guest tonight. Siyempre, nahiya po ako mag-introduce sa guest natin tonight kasi His Excellency ang ating guest for tonight. He's a career diplomat with the rank of Chief of Mission Class 1. Presently, he is the permanent representative of the Philippines to ASEAN in Jakarta. He assumed his present position in May 2019. He joined the Department of Foreign Affairs in 1988 after passing the Foreign Service Officer examination. So ito po yung mga naging posting niya. Nakakagulat ang ating guest tonight in terms of kanyang mga posting. Vienna, Austria from 1991 to 1997 as the Second Secretary and Consul of the Philippine Embassy. He was also the alternate representative of the Philippines to the United Nations Office in Vienna and to the International Atomic Energy Agency. From 1999 to 2002, he was the first secretary and the consul at the Philippine Embassy in Ankara, Turkey. From 2002 to 2005, he was cross-posted to the Philippine Embassy in The Hague, Netherlands as the first secretary and consul. Tapos po at The Hague, he was also the alternative representative to the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. From 2007 to 2009, he was the Minister of the Philippine Embassy in the United Arab Emirates and the Consul General of the Philippines for Abu Dhabi. From 2009 to 2011, he was the Consul General of the Philippines in Manado with jurisdiction over Eastern Indonesia. From 2011 to 2013, he served as the Consul General of the Philippines in Hong Kong. So doon ko po siya na-meet. So before assuming his present post, he was the Ambassador of the Philippines to the Socialist Republic of Vietnam from 2016 to 2019. While assigned at the Department of Foreign Affairs in Manila, our guest served at the Office of the Personnel and Administrative Services, Office of ASEAN Affairs, and Office of the United Nations and other international organizations, and was the first head of the Human Resources Management Office. He represented the Philippines in various international conferences of the United Nations, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and the International Red Cross. He once held the position of the Director of Human Rights and International Humanitarian Law at the said department. Our guest obtained his degree of Bachelor of Laws from the University of the Philippines, Diliman in 1988 and was admitted to the bar the next year. He was also the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Political Science, and History from the University of the Philippines, Visayas, and Master of Public Management from the University of Philippines, Open University. Our guest, first job after college was teaching. So pareho kami. Okay? He was a member of the faculty of the University of the Philippines, Visayas, Iloilo Doctors College, Trinity University of Quezon City, and the LaSalle College of St. Benilde. Our guest was born in Iloilo. Ayan, sa mga friends nating nanonood from Iloilo, mga kababayan nating taga Iloilo. Okay? He's married to our dear friend as well, si Ma'am Marichu Toronto, formerly at formerly a training specialist at the Foreign Service Institute, and they have two sons, Eugene and Patrick. So without any further ado, our guest, His Excellency Ambassador Noel Servigon. Hi po. Good evening po.
Mabuhay, mabuhay, Doc. Mabuhay. It's good to see you again.
Oo nga po, parang I hope I deliver it well, yung introduction po sa inyo. Hindi ko po alam kung paano ko kayo introduce. Actually, sa lahat po na naging guest ko, kinabahan po ako ng sobra sa inyo.
Ako parang hindi tayo makakilala, Doc. Si Doc naman.
Para pong ang hirap na introduce ang isang ambassador. And I cannot believe as well, nakausap ko po ngayon on screen sa ating YouTube channel ay isang ambassador. His Excellency. Okay, kumusta na po kayo, Amba Noel?
Una sa lahat, Doc, papasalamat ako na you invited me to this talk, to this interview. Yung sinabi ko sa kay Chi, no? Sabi ko, interviewin ako ni Doc. Doc, parang ano lang siguro ito, medical consultation. Baka i-check nyo lang kung kamusta na yung kalusugan ko dito sa, namin dito sa Jakarta.
Opo.
So, I still remember, Doc, yung as you have mentioned that the first time that we have met, and then you were our first guest to consultate on our health and wellness program, which I started there in 2012. And I'm very much grateful that you started the ball rolling, and then almost every month we have always a guest para sa health and wellness program natin.
With that, Ambassador, I'm so happy as well because I started, as I have said, I started everything in terms of public service dito po sa Hong Kong because of you. Because you allowed me to use that platform to help our kababayans here in Hong Kong. Siguro nga po parang consultation lang ang ating pag-uusapan ngayon. Ganun ang pag-uusapan natin. Kasi in terms of foreign policy, parang wala po akong alam masyado dyan. Oo. Amba, ang first question ko po siguro, during your childhood years, pinangarap niyo po ba kaagad during those years, pinangarap niyo po ba maging ambassador or mapunta sa field ng foreign service?
Actually, this is what I always tell my sons, no? Sabi ko, I'm an accidental diplomat. My mother did not know that there was a career for diplomacy. And she forced me to take up accounting, hoping that I would be a corporate executive. Yun ang dream niya sa akin. And so sa college, I took up, ang in-applyan ko sa accounting. Kasi that is the profession ng mga sa business, no? It's a professional, no? But I changed course when I realized that my interest is really on politics and history. So I graduated with an AB, Pol Sci and History. As majors.
Ambassador, sa family po ba, ilan po kayong magkakapatid? And then, sa lahat po ba kayong magkakapatid, may same field po na pumunta din sa foreign service o kayo lang po?
I have only one sibling, my sister, who also wanted to be a doctor. When I was at UP Law, nakapasa rin siya sa UP PGH, Medicine. But she decided to have another career later on. And ngayon, professor sa Public Health sa Iloilo, sa West Visayas State University.
Oo. Noon po bang lumalaki kayo, kabataan po ninyo, ano po yung mga fondest memories nyo noon? Meron po ba tayo naaalala ng kabataan natin? Syempre, para po makaka-relate yung mga kababayan natin.
Siguro what took my interest about diplomacy or international relations was that I posted this in my Facebook just March 1 during the birth anniversary of my grandfather. I remembered his house noon, nung maliit pa ko, was full of maps. Mga mapa, no? World maps, sa wall. So every time I go there, I was always interested in peering, no? Tinitingnan ko yung mga mapa yan niya. about Southeast Asia, mga lumang mapa na actually, no? And maybe that gave me an interest na I should see the world, I should be interested on global affairs and things like that. So, but that was still when I was very young. And who would know that when I turned 25, I became a diplomat.
Wow. Oh, for a child, usually po kasi, I myself, when I was growing up, I want to become an ambassador. Kasi yan po yung
Oh.
pangarap ng mga magulang ko sa akin. Maging ambassador. Kasi po pag may guest speaker kami sa school noon, pag may graduation, yung mga guest speaker namin yung His Excellency, Ambassador ganyan. Parang ang sarap pong pakinggan. Tapos merong red carpet na at pag dumarating yung guest speaker natin, particularly pag meron ganyan. Pag nilalagay yung sa title yung His Excellency, Ambassador ganyan. Paano po ano po kailangan pag-aralan para po maging ambassador? Meron po bang specific course na kailangan kunin para po maging ambassador?
Actually, when I was still a student, nung elementary and high school ko, I thought that mga ambassadors are just politicians. Kasi si Lilo noon, we have a regional politician ni Marcos noon who wanted the title always of ambassador. No? God bless his soul na he passed away, and I had an impression that a politician is an ambassador kasi paano naging ambassador siya na he is always in our region, no? Yung pala dating ambassador siya. And as they said, once an ambassador, always an ambassador. So that was my impression. And then I have a relative who was a commercial attaché. And my aunt said that, oh, you should consider a career. You might be a commercial attaché someday. That relative of mine, no? Actually, he was a uncle. But I never thought about it, no? Na maging politician or ambassador like that until I saw an announcement that was in 1980 or 81, an announcement at school that announcing the examination for foreign service officers. FSO. FSO, generic term namin yan ng mga Philippine diplomats. FSO, Foreign Service Officer. And I saw the announcement and the coverage with the exam. I said, I'm very interested. Kasi political, international history, international politics, ganun mga coverage niya. And I tried to apply. And later on, they told me that there's a minimum age, 23 years old. 23. And I was only 18. No? Okay. I graduated, I finished my college at the age ko of 19. No? So I was disqualified by that time. Although I wrote the Board of Examiners, pwede ba makakuha lang ng exam? And then, tanggapin nyo na lang ako. If I pass it, tanggapin nyo na lang ko when I reach the age of 25. That was the minimum age during the time under the old law. So the question about what kind of preparation any college degree will do.
College degree, okay. And
But
then
of course, if you're interested in yung mga, based on my batchmates, most of them were, actually most of my batchmates were, there were several lawyers, but come to think of it, no? I think most of them were economic graduates.
Okay. So nasa field of economics or law ang field nila.
Yes, or history. And then lately, when I became after 30 years, almost 30 years, when I became a member na ng Board of Examiners, I discovered that many of them are history graduates.
History graduates. Yeah. So after
although may mga kami, look, we have all fields. So we have engineers. I think we have even a nurse, no? Several nurses. And may mga pre-med and even a geodetic engineer, architect. Yun,
Oo,
but most of them were political science. Political science pala. Yeah,
oo.
graduates.
And for sure, mahirap po ang exam dyan kasi iilan lang ang pumapasa because there are times nakikita ko yung mga pumapasa sa exam. Sabi ko, and I have a friend also na ano na po siya ngayon, consul na siya. Na-assign po siya sa Saudi Arabia, sa Riyadh. Kakapunta pa lang niya doon. And then classmate ko
Sino
po
yun?
siya, si Miss Sharon. Sabi ko nga kay Miss Sharon, ay sabi ko magi-guest sa akin si Ambassador Noel ngayon. Sabi niya papanoorin din niya. Oo.
Sharon.
I forgot the last name of Miss Sharon. So
Yes, we have several Sharons na
Oo.
officers.
Mamaya, sasabihin ko yung ano niya. Kasi
Yeah,
iba yung
yeah.
ginamit niya sa Facebook, Ambassador
Oo.
eh. Ma-memorize yung last name niya. But anyway, yung pong exam, isa yon, factor yon, mahirap siya. So after po ba nun, meron po bang pathway na diretso ka agad sa ambassador or meron mo ng steps before
Yeah.
having the title of ambassador?
It was only when I joined the DFA no, na nakapasok na ko, na my staff showed me a diagram.
Mm-mm.
I saw the diagram and that was where I realized that there's a career pala na that would make you an ambassador.
Mm-mm.
I never thought that I would be an ambassador. I thought it was just a how do you call this, a temporary job for me.
Mm-mm.
I was then a law student,
Mm-mm.
and as I've said, I was teaching before at Trinity,
Mm-mm.
and sabi ko nahirapan ako magbiyahe, magturo, no? And it was just how many units lang na load ko. I want a more stable job, preparing for the bar exam, no? Gusto ko muna mag-ipon. So I took this exam. I took this exam in it was I think summer of 1987 when I was already qualified. 23 years old na ako. So I took the exam and hoping that I would have a job as kasi nakalagay doon sa description lang eh. Hindi actually sa episode na description na doon ng announcement lang, hindi nakalagay na you will become an ambassador someday. Parang tinatago nila, no? You just have a career in the foreign service, yun ang ganun. Kasi generic yan eh. So, a career in the foreign service. So, they will not promise that you will be an ambassador.
So, not all po na pumapasa doon sa exam na yon ay nagiging ambassador. So, it would take some years then. You need to prove yourself.
So, it's what I would like always to explain to my friends that we are like in the military. We start in the lowest rank. No? Diba? Kilala mo rin dyan sa consulate mga vice consul. Diba? Kilala nyo dyan, sina vice consul nung Chuck, no? Nalala mo yan? Na Joy, no?
Chuck.
Yeah. And then the other. So they started as a vice consul, class 4 yan eh. So there are 7 ranks in the foreign service.
Okay, 7 ranks. So after vice consul po, ano po yung susunod doon? Magiging consul na siya.
Actually, FSO 4, no, Foreign Service Officer 4, class 4, class 3. So yung mga sinabab yan, I think they're already class 2. Di ba, vice consul, equivalent rank nila is vice consul, then was promoted to consul. Di ba? Sinabab, sinatimi, they are consul. Then sa embassies, there are ranks also like third secretary, second secretary, first secretary. So I pass all of them. And then we will have another exam to become a minister. Tawag lang, career minister.
Ang dami po palang exam na pagdadaanan.
Yeah, for promotion. And not all of them pass the exams, no? So kila, yan sa consulate ngayon, we have minister, si Leo Ausan. You know Leo Ausan? Yeah, he's the rank of minister. And then after that, I was already a minister when I headed my first post. That was in Manado, one of the sa Indonesia, Eastern Indonesia. They told me that to accept that post, even if I'm not a chief of mission, yung pinakataas na rank is chief of mission. That means that you can head a mission, an embassy. So there are 2 ranks rin dyan, class 2 and class 1. So bali 7 lahat na ranks.
Oo, bali ambassador, hindi lang po number of years ang kina-count pala diyan in terms of the exam. Dapat medyo magaling ka rin po diyan kasi kung mapo-promote ka ng mapo-promote at makarating doon sa so pinakamataas na po yung ambassador. Kung
That
pinakamababa
is the highest rank is chief of mission.
chief
If
of
you have the
mission,
chief of mission rank, you can be assigned as ambassador na.
ambassador po. Okay.
So, kung hindi ka pa chief of mission, just like what happened to me, I was consul general in Manado, in
Mm,
eastern Indonesia. Consul
mm,
general also in Abu Dhabi.
mm, mm.
And Hong Kong, alam niyo, Hong Kong is considered as a, parang embassy yan eh. Although the head is not ambassador, but it's bigger than many of our embassies.
Okay. And
So
siguro
it
po,
was when I was promoted to chief of mission that
mm,
then I was called to head the consulate there 10 years
mm,
ago. Yeah.
mm,
Although
mm,
that time my title was only consul general, but
mm.
as I tell my other friends, mas malaki pa yung post ko kaysa sa inyo, no? Other embassies.
Oo. And then for yung pong title na ambassador is for life na po yon. Ibig sabihin po, hindi na po bumababa ang rank kasi because there are times na sa military man or ano, pag nakuha yung title nyo, minsan nadidemote,
Hindi
bumababa yung
naman demotion eh. Kasi some of my colleagues, no,
Oo.
they are already ambassadors, but they wanted also to be consul general.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah, may iba na especially sa States, no?
Mm,
Naging ambassador na sila to other countries, then they want to be transferred to the US.
mm,
And there are
mm,
7 consulates sa US.
mm.
And
Okay
okay
po.
na sa kanila na maging consul general. Like in New York, alam mo naman New York, no?
Mm,
So, kilala mo si my predecessor there in Hong Kong, si
mm.
Claro
Yes
Cristobal.
po. Siya po yung
Yeah, he
unang-unang
was already ambassador.
mm,
He was already ambassador before, and then he
mm,
moved to New York as consul general. It's not a
mm.
demotion.
Ay, siya
It's just their preference.
preference. At least po now, medyo maliwanag po sa ating mga viewers, sa ating mga kababayan, yung mga differences para dating po doon. Anyway po, in terms of your first assignment po, because I was reading po yung, yung na-assign kayo sa ibang bansa na. Ang una po yung assignment, tama po ba yung sa Vienna, Austria? Doon po ba?
Yeah, Vienna sausage.
Okay. Kumusta naman po yung first assignment nyo? Na first time yung lalabas na ng country, tapos kayo po yung yung assignment nyo doon. Ano po yung preparation po ninyo?
Yeah, that was a funny experience because they proposed me the year before. Sabi ko, but my assignment order was served to me December. And sabi ko, naku, winter na ito. And I've never experienced winter. So, and then binilang ko preparations, maybe I'll be there in February. Naku, sabi ng mga kasama ko, that's the dead of winter, the middle of winter, February. I arrived in Vienna February 4 of 1991, in the middle of winter, together with all the snow. So, it was my first posting, and by the grace of God, I have very good colleagues there who made my stay comfortable. Kahit na winter na ako dumating.
Oo. Pag po ba na-assign kayo sa mga bansang yan, and for sure marami na po kayong bansang na-asanan, pwede po bang bumalik ulit dun sa country na yon? Pwede po bang mag-request ng ganon?
Most of the time, hindi na pwede bumalik. But there are times na they still allow it.
And among the countries po na na-assign kayo, ano po yung pinaka-challenging sa inyo?
Ano ko, challenging? Akala ko, ang tanong mo, what is the best? The best was Vienna, no? The first is always the best, hindi ba sabi nila? No, that's where I got married. So, in Vienna.
In Vienna.
Pero the most challenging, I may say, was when I accepted the invitation to become Consul General in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi? Okay.
Yeah.
Bakit po?
Abu Dhabi is in the United Arab Emirates. Di ba? And we have 2 posts there. One is in Dubai, Consulate General in Dubai, and the embassy is in Abu Dhabi. UAE has the second largest number of OFW sa Middle East, di ba? After Saudi. And I thought that just like in the military again, I compare myself in the military. You cannot claim to be a complete diplomat if you've not been to the hardship posts, mga challenging posts.
Okay.
Just like in the military, sabi ko, hindi ka pwede maging general kung wala kang combat experience. Di ba? And for us in the foreign service, the hardship posts are this in the Middle East. So I took it as a challenge after being posted in Europe, no, in Vienna, in Turkey, and although Turkey is also some say it's Middle East, no, or in the Netherlands, I accepted an assignment in the Middle East, and it was Abu Dhabi. And I'm again lucky that I have a very good boss there who guided me. And I was not only Consul General in Abu Dhabi, but I was also Minister of the Embassy in charge of the whole UAE.
Ay, oo. So medyo challenging nga po yun kasi medyo yung sinasakupan medyo madami.
Yes.
Oo. How about po nung na-post kayo dito sa Hong Kong? Did you consider Hong Kong na medyo challenging then or medyo dahil po sanay na kayo doon sa post nyo before sa Abu Dhabi, pagdating dito sa Hong Kong siguro medyo easy na ito ang post dito sa Hong Kong?
Actually, when Hong Kong was offered, they said, "Oh, it's a very difficult post, no?" For some, no, they said that it's a very difficult post. I said, if I have been to the Middle East, I think, and also in Manado, I already headed a consulate in Manado for 2 years, no? It's a different. I have experienced na lahat ng mga working environment. And for Hong Kong, I realized that the Filipino community was crucial in making my work significant. Dito ko na I also developed that in Abu Dhabi. I've learned how to do that, relate with the Filipino community, especially like your talks, no, mga ganun. We also had that we have shelter before, and I still remember inviting a group of doctors to talk there also. Yung mga runaway So when I came to Hong Kong, I found it that despite na ang dami talaga ng because the Filipino community is very organized, it was easy for me to get collaboration from them. Yeah, that's what I realized, no? Na the different groups like they can alternate in helping us, and then the networking was easier in Hong Kong because of the organizations of the Philcom. Unlike in the Middle East, they cannot register. They cannot be in the Middle East. The only Filipino organization that could be accredited is the business council with the Chamber of Commerce. But in Hong Kong, we have hundreds of them registered with the police. And it's so easy to work with them and then to have joint projects. So I find Hong Kong, what I can say is that Hong Kong really parang completed my journey in preparation to be a full diplomat.
Yan po. Ang dami po namin natututunan dito sa ating discussion na ito. Sabi kasi ng iba, yung po mga questions ko daw, hindi na itatanong sa pangkaraniwang conversation, hindi na pag-uusapan. Maari po, baka po may mga kababayan tayong nanonood ngayon na gustong maging officer din, maging vice consul or maging ambassador someday. But para po sa benefit ng mga viewers natin, maaaring hindi po nila naiintindihan ang specific role. Pag po ba sinabing ambassador, ano po ang ginagawa? Ano po ang main role ng ambassador?
Yung pag ambassador ka, you represent the country, no? So actually sa Hong Kong, no, when I was Consul General in Hong Kong, we had an ambassador in Beijing, di ba? Sakop tayo ng sakop ang Hong Kong ng China. But Hong Kong is an autonomous region.
Mm-mm.
And bihirang-bihira talaga ako. Parang akong naging Philippine ambassador diyan sa Hong Kong, no? Kung papatawag ako ng meetings with the Hong Kong government, no?
Mm-mm.
Uh, Very seldom do we interact with the Chinese government during that time. Siguro
Mm-mm.
the first time that I met them nung kinuha, ceremonial lang, yung mga ceremonies, di ba? Hindi ko makita yung mga sa mainland China. But most of the time, I deal with the Hong Kong officials,
Mm-mm.
yung how do you call it, chief executive,
Mm-mm.
and yung mga secretaries ng mga departments. So it was also like an ambassador, and that means that you'll really be the liaison between the Philippines and the host government.
Mm-mm.
So, but then I learned this from isang community leader noon. No? He said that you're not only the representative of your government, you're also the representative of the overseas Filipino communities.
Mm-mm.
So because of that, 'di ba, we have always every month we have many talks there sa consulate, maraming mga interaction, and I always make it to the point to attend all the different activities in which I was invited.
Mm-mm.
I could always remember kami ni Chin, no? Starting from 8 o'clock until 8 in the evening, from 8 to 8, no? Sunod-sunod yan, per hour yan kami na, every Sunday. Yeah.
And I remember, I
I
remember
always
during,
try to accept them. No, kahit na any kind of organization, I was willing to speak to them, to talk to them. And as I've said, any kind, alam mo naman yan, no? So, I was open to interaction with all of them.
I still remember during the time, napaka hands-on po ninyo at nakikita ko po talagang nagjo-join kayo sa mga Filipino events, mga kababayan natin, pag pumupunta kayo sa Central minsan at pag mayroon mga events, as in, so hindi po ba kayo napapagod no na lahat po yata ng events sa isang araw, ang dami yung pinupuntahan, left and right, kayo ni Ma'am Chi noon, talagang super involved kayo sa lahat ng mga activities dito sa Hong Kong during those time.
Actually, Doc, it was inspiring. Inspiring, no, na parang it gave us it uplifted us, no, physically. Although maybe health-wise it could be tiring, but parang inspiring na to see them, no, these Filipinos, they're organized, especially mga organized Filipinos. It's really so amazing how they group among themselves and they have all these activities. I remember before that we even reached a community in the border of Hong Kong and the mainland, northeast Hong Kong, no? Sabi nila, the last time that they have never been daw visited by someone from the consulate. I don't know, there was a hospital there sa northeast Hong Kong. There's a hospital there na kasama ko, dalawa pang kasama ko, I don't think that they're Hong Kong Philcom leaders. Wala na sila siguro dyan. And they told me that we have been invited there. Ang hirap pa pumunta dahil ang guide namin could not, nakasakay namin sa kotse, hindi siya pala marunong mag-guide sa amin kasi ang alam niya lang sakay sa bus or sa train, no? So, it was northeast Hong Kong. We were there to campaign for registration. And at the same time, it was also a opportunity to meet them after Mass. They had mga groups there. So, it really inspired me, no? And then sa mga islands to meet them. And then, it became, for 2 years, it became a part of our lives, no? Because it's, things like that. And when I was in Vietnam, they were surprised. Why do I have to go to these places? Ang laki ng Vietnam, unlike sa Hong Kong, no? Sabi nila, I reached even the south ng Vietnam, all those places. And I said, although nauubos ang panahon ko sa travel, but it's really different, no? Unlike in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, ang dali lang mag-travel nun. So, as I've said, it's to hear them, to know their complaints, their problems, and even there were many times that I've been that the complaints have been brought to me, and they could be very, how do you call this, very frank and candid. No? So,
Oo.
okay lang sa akin.
Oo.
They're all properly recorded, and we try to address them all.
Ito po, na-curious lang po ako. Siyempre po, bilang ambassador, you tend to meet different kinds of people, world leaders. So marami na po kayo for sure sa mga events sa country natin, sa mga invitations po sa inyo, marami na po kayo na-meet na world leaders. Sino po sa mga world leaders ang na-meet nyo na starstruck kayo? Meron po bang ganon? Na gusto mo hindi ko expect na mamimit nyo po ito, tapos na-meet ninyo in person?
Parang wala naman.
Oo.
When world leaders, no? I was not actually. I did not really aspire to be present in all these occasions na may mga visits ng mga world leaders or mga. It was not part of. Just happened siguro na trabaho ko iba ibang dimension, no. And as I always said, that it was really what was significant is that to reach out to people, no, mga overseas Filipinos, sa mga lugar na hindi pa napupuntahan. It happened also in the UAE, and it was really challenging, no, to hold a meeting, which was sabi nila, ano to, birthday party to, nung sinita ko, no, it's a birthday party. It's a birthday party, but at the same time, I also took the opportunity to interact, no? Tinatanong ko anong mga problema nila. Just like in sa Hong Kong, the other day I was talking to one of our bankers there. I was asking about another thing, no? Problema about remittance. And naalala niya na we were there in the consulate early in the morning. Yung mga nakapila doon.
Okay.
Na early in the morning, I was there asking them. Ako pang kung kumusta na sila, ano mga problema nila, giving them their forms, no? And it was, they were surprised why I was there. Kasi bakit natakot kayo na tinatanong kayo, ako na Consul General dito, ba't hindi ako sinasagot? Bakit daw tinatanong ko daw sila? Sabi ko, di ba pupunta kayo sa consulate para may mga problema kayo? Ngayon na, nandito na ako.
Sa ngayon po ba, meron pa kayong bansa na gustong kayo po ay ma-post doon sa bansang yon? Meron po bang ganon sa inyo?
That's a good question, no? Actually, 30 years na ko, no? And magre-retire na ko in about 6 years. So, I really don't know. We cannot plan our career. Just like when I went to Hong Kong, no? When I went to Hong Kong, it was not my plan, but it was just given to me. Actually, just to tell you, no, one day after I arrived in Hong Kong, there was someone called me in my private phone or ano ba yun, sa Facebook or what. Tinatanong pa ko kung nasa Manado pa ba ako. Kasi tinatanong ko kung pwede daw ako lumipat sa Syria, Damascus.
Okay.
Sabi ko, kararating ko lang sa Hong Kong.
Okay.
I was going to the airport to get my shipment. No? And then, ano ba kayo? Kararating ko lang dito, no? So, things like that, we really don't know kung saan kami, only God knows anong mga plano nila. And
then, with all these things po na nangyari sa career po ninyo, ano po ang masasabi ninyo na greatest achievement po ninyo?
Naku. Anong masabi ko? Wala yung questions mo kanina na ano.
Mahirap po ba? Ang tanong ko.
Kasi continuing as I've told my sons before, no, still continuing. I don't intend to retire, no. Even if I'm 65, I can have another career, no. And maybe the achievement of self-fulfillment that you were able to, kasi individual is always personal, no? And for me, yeah, I may be different, no? I may, sa iba sa kanila, sabi niya, corny mo naman, Noel. Bakit yan ang ambition mo? Is to, to make a difference. Na may matulungan ka. And I said, ever since siguro when I was still a student, no? Nung sa Iloilo ko, when I decided to, na-involve ako sa student movement. When I became sa student council, chairman ako ng student council noon. I thought that a life, no, a life of service would be more interesting, more meaningful for me. So it just happened that some thought that being ambassador is glamorous, glamour, no? Hindi ko talaga yan eh. I never, yun tanong mo lang sa akin, I meet world leaders. Of course, na sulubong ko just like during the summit ng ASEAN Summit, no? Yung sulubong mo lang dyan si Trump or si Putin or si no? And I have attended several summit meetings, no? When I was accompanying President Duterte. So I see them, no, nakaano ko lang sila, and katabi mo talaga something like that, no? But it never occurred to me, wow, I don't even have a picture, no, with them.
Yeah, selfie ako.
Na dumadaan, no, or na ano mo, I never, it was not in my mind. Yeah. So as you can see in my Facebook, there were more memories na more meaningful for me. Actually, yung first my first picture of assisting Filipinos, actually 1991 was actually a dead Filipino. We were looking for his cadaver in a hospital in Vienna.
Okay.
Yes. So, hirap talaga hanapin, no? Kasi I don't speak German pa, and then yung kasama ko, ang German niya, not so, and imagine mo opening yung mga frozen bodies, no? Di ba? Yeah. And then pagtingin, ay mali, puti pala ito, ay babae, ay things like that. And until finally we saw a Filipino, ayan na palang pangalan niya nandun. Kasi nakaano sila. Freezer na parang drawer, no? Inhigit mong drawer.
Tignan niyo kung isa-isa kung sino
kasi doon. You must really, although there are names, but I don't know why, you must really be sure. That was part of the job of a consul before.
Okay.
You must be sure that the body is the one you are looking for. And then, ngayon hindi na yan required, no? Sa mga consul. Pero kami noon, kapkapin pa namin yung buong katawan la. We will have to inspect the cadaver, the coffin, no? And I really had myself pictured with that body. I said, this is I told my colleagues na mga bagong officers, you are not anymore forced to do that. May mga kasama ko na ayaw talaga yun eh. Sabi ko, nako, maging ambassador na kayo, you never experienced that. Going to the morgue, no? Maghanap ng mga patay or
walang kababayan natin.
So sabi na hindi na, nila daw yung staff, no? Di ba may ATN tayo? But for me, I try to experience that. Even sa, may last posting sa Vietnam, no? Yung sa mga hospital, no? Basta hindi naman contagious lang ang sakit, no? I want to see the conditions personally.
Ayan po, marami pong nag-greet po sa inyo. Super bait po daw ninyo, Sir Noel. Basta mabait. Yes po, mabait po si Sir Noel. Ang dami pong mga kababayan natin dito nakaka-relate po sa kwento nyo at nagsasabing super bait po ninyo.
Thank you. Thank you.
Maaring na-meet ng kababayan natin dito sa Hong Kong. Natulungan nyo rin po siguro sila one way or the other during your posting po dito sa Hong Kong. A question ko po, Ambassador Noel, kung hindi po kayo naging sa field ng foreign service, ano po sanang profession ang kinuha ninyo?
Actually, I thought that being a teacher was just enough.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Kasi yung father ko was a teacher,
Mm-mm.
although he became a lawyer later on. And my
Mm-mm.
grandfather on my mother's side founded a school sa Iloilo, yung Baluarte Elementary School, the first public school sa nung American times, no? So I wanted to become a teacher because it's one way of again interaction rin eh, no?
Mm-mm.
With the students, seeing them grow and discussing. I like yung academic discussion, freedom of discussion. I said that I'm not afraid, no,
Mm-mm.
na bawal ang pikon, di ba? When you're
Oo.
talking, no?
So with
Bawal ang pikon.
mm-mm.
So
With
I
all
enjoy interacting with them even if they have different views. Okay
mm-mm.
lang.
Okay lang. Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm. With all of this po, Ambassador, do you still have time to relax or to unwind? Kayo pong dalawa ni Ma'am Chi. Or sobrang busy po, meron pa po kayong time na siyempre, nowadays, because of the pandemic, maaaring iba. But before the pandemic po, may time pa po kayong, ano po usually ginagawa nyo during your pastime?
actually nung nag-start ang pandemic at nag-lockdown dito, we had ang pastime namin is to watch Netflix.
Netflix, okay.
And then what I did was si Chi has her own favorite series, no? But sabi ko every meal time, lunch and dinner, we watch some mga series, one episode at a time.
Ano
One
pong
episode at a
episode?
time. Hindi ko nagmamarathon ng Netflix. One
Okay.
episode at a time. So, yung sa mga anak ko ganun rin. One episode at a time. And then, of course, walking. Exercise is still, di ba may mga ano tayo, mga Fitbit, yung 10,000 steps. I introduced also this fitness program sa office namin, sa mission namin. Nag-contest kami ng mga damihan ng ano, ng walking inside the house. Di ba tour of your house? Yeah. Yung iba may mga bahay sila na may mga second floor. So, mas maano yung walking nila. Ako naman, dito sa likod namin may aircon, balcony na may mga aircon. That's where I had mga brisk walking, running, yung mga short, yung sprinting, 5 meters run back and forth.
Yeah.
That's a good way of parang ano, na hanggang mapagod ko.
And then with since you mentioned po your kids, is there any ano po sa mga bata na gustong mag-follow ng footsteps po ninyo? Meron po ba kayong nakikitang ganun para sa kanila?
Yung second son ko, si Patrick, took up Diplomacy International Relations sa Ateneo. And as I've said, just like my parents said, what I did to my parents, I don't want to force them. Bahala na sila. Because my parents, they, although, yeah, especially my mother, no, had some sana plans for me, ambition niya sana na maging corporate executive ako. I never knew about this work as a diplomat. Sabi niya, ano ba yung pinasukan mo? When I took the bar, no, when I took the bar, nagkasabay rin sa oral exams namin sa FSO. Sabi niya, kasi humingi ako ng pera sa kanya pambili ng barong.
Okay.
And yung dormmate ko pa na may niraman ko ng barong, is only barong was malaki pang ano, collar. Sabi nila baka babagsak kayo sa exam na papasok ka doon, interviewin ka ng mga ambassadors doon. Ang laki naman ng collar ng ano mo. Kailang bumili ka talaga ng ano, ng modern na barong, no. So I asked my mother, she was so, ba't hingi ka pa ng pera na akala niya kumukuha ako ng bar exams. Sabi niya, baka pabagsak ka sa bar.
Okay.
Sabi niya, only 2 days, magpa-interview lang ko. It was in Diplomat, and then that was an interview sa PICC pa. And never did I knew that it was pala a serious affair. Akala ko interview lang sa office interview. Yung interview ka lang dyan na ordinary office. I didn't know that it was really a big affair. May ano pa kami, may formal dinner. So, and then I passed the exam for FSO before natapos ang bar. Kasi yung bar is 4 Sundays ang bar. After the third Sunday, may ano na ako, telegrama na ako.
Mm.
na President Cory Aquino has already appointed me and I should
Wow.
report for outtaking. Sabi ko,
Mm.
ako hindi pa tapos yung bar ko. Still ako. Eh bar, magagalit mo tumatak ko na hindi ko, baka hindi ko makapasa ng bar. But then after the bar, 6 months pang hintay.
Oo, matagal po.
So sabi ko, sige, i-accept ko na lang itong DPA na trabaho. So I went there after the bar, nag-outtaking ako doon. I didn't know pala na formal pala mo outtaking. So akala ko, di ba parang government employee ka lang? Sige, di ba? I didn't know that it's a big deal plus kanila.
So, naano po ako, na-curious lang po ako because sa akin po kasi pag sinabing ambassador, may pagka-glamorous. Nandun ka sa high ranking Na-curious lang po ako sa mga perks and privileges. Kasi po 'di ba may diplomatic passport, hindi na kayo pumipila ng 'di ba ganun
naman.
Hindi po ba ganun yun? Mali po ba yun? Pagkakaano ko. Tapos pag po sumasakay tayo ng eroplano, libre po ba tayo doon? Mga ganon. Hindi rin po yun. Hindi totoo yun. Kala ko ba totoo?
Yung mga that's the impression before, Doc. Kasi just like what my impression when I was still young, mga politiko, mga ambassadors lang, naka-first class sila. Kami we are government employees. We are career diplomats. Maybe may mga ibang ambassadors tayo na mga non-career, yung tinatawag na political ambassadors. They can afford. They can afford all of these privileges. Sila nahiya pa yan sila na sasama lang sa economy class. Kami ni Chino Hong Kong, Manila yan, economy kami palagi yan. Cebu Pacific pa. Mura, no? And then, of course, yung mga pila dyan sa airport, no? Yung pila yung pinakamahirap na pila dyan, yung inspection sa X-ray. Hindi kami exempted dyan, no?
Akala ko po exempted kayo sa mga ganyan.
Diplomatic, dyan lang pa, balik lang dyan sa Hong Kong lang eh. I've been subjected rin also to inspection dyan I remember that one time na may bitbit pa ko in isang kahon, no? Na mysterious. Costume pala para sa costume para Filipiniano costume. Kasi I had to bring it because hindi pwede magusot, no? And sabi ko, para hindi magusot. And then I was tinanong pa ko ng guardian sa airport na bakit na talagang ingat-ingat ako nung bitbit ko. Ang tinanong nila sa X-ray, Filipina costume. Hindi na bitbit lang sa akin ng isa, no? Filipina leader din. And then I was expected. Sabi, ba't pina-inspection mo pa? Hindi mo sinabi na Consul General. Hindi, sabi ko, we'll have to follow all this, we'll have to follow all these procedures. Hindi naman nila na question.
Ayan po yung mga kababayan natin nagtatanong lagi, mga pribilehiyo, mga perks and benefits, at least po coming from ambassador, yung po sagot regarding
yung, the big privilege that is that you have the chance to meet yung mga Filipinos, no? And then just like I have said before, kung may mga dyan, we will be invited. So it's a big privilege. May mga events, ceremonies, or kahit lang yung mga birthday parties ilalim ng tulay dyan. Hindi ba nalala mo yung mga birthday parties yan sa mga sidewalk? It's really a big privilege to be invited by them. Enjoy namin ni Chia interact with them.
Opo. With my final question po, I know napaka-busy niyo po, marami kayong meetings this week, magpe-prepare pa po kayo. With my final question po, if a child po would ask you for an advice na gusto niya pong maging ambassador one day, being an ambassador, what would you want to tell yung child po na yon, yung bata na yon na gustong maging ambassador one day?
She'll always remember that an ambassador is a government employee, public servant, is not a politician. So kung may mga ambition siya na may mga the idea is that it's not a privilege na you will have all the perks, no? Yung diplomatic immunities na sabi nila na narinig nila, and then you will always be in the glamour post. So out of how many ambassadors we are in the foreign service, you could see that the big majority are really career diplomats who are out of the limelight. So maybe if you want to be, siguro baka kanila ambassador of goodwill. Di ba maraming ambassador of goodwill? Yun ang mga nag-attend ng mga ceremonies, mga ganun, no? And then naka-ano ka pa, may sash ka pa dyan na nakalagay na ambassador of goodwill. May ano ka pa dyan, may mga, anong tawag yan? Yung may mga corsage or bouquet. Di ba? So, working there is, as I've said, you must have an attitude of public service. And your commitment na, I don't know, maybe, and then especially sa mga issues, no? Ako, I might be different, I might have my own approach, no? Na hindi ka matakot na to interact with them and to find try to help them find solutions, no? And I always claim that I do not have a monopoly of solutions. Diba? Until now, I said that I've been more than 30 years na. I always tell my officers here that we should always talk, no? Bago may mga big decisions, we always talk. Because I cannot, I'm not, kahit na matanda ako, it doesn't mean that I know the answer for every question.
Wow. So maraming pong salamat. Doon po sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Hong Kong, may gusto po ba kayong mensahe para sa kanila? May gustong sabihin? Kasi po marami pong nagsasabi dito sa mga viewers natin na nagsasay na, ay, sa inyo, kumusta daw po kayo? Nami-miss na po kayo dito sa Hong Kong ng ating mga kababayan.
Yeah. I always tell them that my experience in Hong Kong was fulfilling since it seems that I've completed my work as a diplomat, no? Doon ko nakita lahat ng mga, especially with the vibrant Filipino community. No, I was just amazed na kahit na ganun yung situation diyan, every corner, every place diyan, no, organized sila lahat. They had the feeling that there's really a need to be organized. And every time I see a Filipino na diyan, no, hindi member ng isang organization, sabi ko, mag-join ka. Kahit na, I'm sure that, bakit ayaw nyo mag-join dyan ng mga grupo dyan? Ang dami na, there are hundreds of them. Kung ayaw mo ng regional group mo, go for a hobby group. Kung hindi ka ng hobby group, go for the church, no? Ang dami masimbahan dyan. And so until now, that's still my message. When I was everywhere I'm posted, nung sa Vietnam ako, I always tell them, no, yung mga teachers, mga sa all over Vietnam, we have seen them. I said, form a group. Kasi the consulate or the embassy cannot reach out to every one of you individually. But if you have a group, mayroon kayong representative na you can rotate among yourselves, no? Yun sabi ko eh. Kasi hindi naman pwede na sulatan ko kayo isa-isa. Although I started also that Facebook diyan sa Hong Kong, no? Of course, sa Facebook lang makita mo lahat ng mga nandoon lahat ng mga reklamo. And we try to answer all of them. So I've been following that kind of. I learned so many things on how to deal with the migrant workers when I was in Hong Kong. And as I've said, especially for you, Dr. Mike, the health of is the most important thing. Sa 30 years ko, sa 8 postings ko, the most important, the most serious problem that I've encountered among the migrant Filipinos is when they get sick and nobody is taking care of them. Yung patay na eh, no? So, hanapan na lang ng paraan yan kung paano sila ma-transport. But for the sick, makita mo, it happened, no? Many times, no? Even in Vietnam, in Hong Kong, in the Middle East. So, that's what I give priority. Yung health and wellness nila, that they should really have a way in which to take care of themselves kahit na nag-iisa lang sila. And I'm very thankful to you, Dr. Mike, that you started program there, and I could still remember some of the overseas Filipinos na during one of the some of one of the talks about breast cancer, umiiyak sila sa, and they have never seen a doctor, no. One of the most palagi natin ulit-ulit yung breast cancer yun, di ba? May foundation dyan. Yeah, I think twice a year we always do that. We always have talks because it's something which many of our domestic workers have suffered. And kilala mo ba yung si Melinda? Melinda ba yun yung Philcas, yung
Philcas, si
cancer
Miss Gemma Andan, opo, yung mga members.
Yung founder ko nila na pass away rin noon. Hindi ko alam siya pala may sakit rin pala. When I met them, my mother also passed away just before I was posted in Hong Kong. My mother also died of breast cancer. So I had such an affinity with them. Kung paano sila nag-suffer. So that's why I really work for that. The PhilHealth should have been a good program for overseas Filipinos.
Opo, dapat take care nyo rin po yung health ninyo po dyan, kayong dalawa ni Ma'am Chi. Oo, I know health is wealth. Sa pagka-busy ng schedule nyo, dapat wag nyo rin pong kalimutan ng sarili po ninyo.
Yes.
Para po pag malakas tayo, mga kababayan natin malakas, walang magkakasakit at makakapag-perform pa po tayo na mas mabuti sa ating trabaho.
Yeah.
Oo. So with that po, Sir Noel, Ambassador Noel, maraming salamat po. Meron po ba kayong gustong i-greet? Baka po may gusto kong yung i-promote or something?
I just wish you, Doc, na you will continue with your advocacy about good health among the migrant workers. And I hope that it has been mainstream na yung health and wellness among the Filipino community organizations. Just like dito lang sa opisina ko, yung campaign ko against smoking, no? Dahil nasi-stress sila, and then they have to smoke and to overeating, things like that. So we should all be conscious about that, and I hope that we can promote that further.
Opo.
Because if you have good health, you can do much in this world of ours.
Yes po. Maraming salamat po, Ambassador Noel Servigon. Sana po magkita tayo in person soon pag wala na itong pandemya. Sana po maka-visit po ako dyan sa Jakarta. Or maka-visit minsan kayo dito sa Hong Kong din. Pag okay na po ang lahat. So with that po, maraming salamat po. I hope this would not be the last na conversation natin para tumulong sa ating kababayan. And if you need my help din po, para sa ating mga kababayan sa Jakarta, pwedeng we could do online thing para sa kanila. I am willing to share din po para sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino. So with that, Sir Noel, di ko na po kayo patatagalin. I know, gabi na po dyan. Marami pa po kayong gagawin. Thank you sa iyo and thank you kay Ma'am Chi din. And have a great night po. Maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Ito si Chi,
Yeah. Si Ma'am Chi. Hi, Ma'am Chi. Hi po. Hello. Hello, Ma'am Chi.
Thank you.
Opo. Gusto niyo pong batiin yung ating mga kababayan, Ma'am Chi, na namimiss po kayo dito sa Hong Kong?
Oo nga, namimiss din namin sila. Just want to greet all our friends and all the Filipinos in Hong Kong. We miss them all.
Okay.
We miss you all.
So marami pong salamat. Take care po sa inyo. Sana po magkita tayo in person soon.
Yeah,
Yes.
we pray that this pandemic will end soon and that we can see each other again. Marami pa tayong gagawin dito sa mundo.
Yes po. So with
Keep
that
safe.
Keep safe, Doc.
Have a great night po. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you for this opportunity to interact again with our Filipino community.
My pleasure po. My pleasure, Ambassador Noel Servigon. And Ma'am Chi, you're still pretty.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mabuhay kayo, Dr. Mike. Mabuhay.
So ayan po ang ating guest. Parang naging speechless po akong bigla sa ating guest tonight with Ambassador Noel Servigon at saka si Ma'am Chi na sumama din sa screen natin. I'm so grateful po dahil po yung career natin dito sa Hong Kong, nag-start po kay Sir Noel, Ambassador Noel. Sana po na-inspire po yung mga kababayan natin sa panonood ng episode na ito. Greet muna natin lahat ng mga viewers natin, mabilisan. Honey Love, Floor, Jane, Normie, Sharon, Jocelyn, Moshi, si Miss Blue, tama po ba? Susana Valencia, Jane, Ellie, Jane, Annie, maraming salamat po. Evelyn, Kabatu, maraming salamat. Loves, Estrella. So sa lahat po ng mga viewers natin, yung pong mga na-miss ko, sa lahat po ng almost 5,000 plus viewers, 5,500 viewers, maraming salamat po. Sa lagi po ninyong pagtutok sa amin. Sa mga new subscribers natin, maraming salamat. It's an honor po na makasama nyo kami tuwing gabi, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Abangan nyo po yung mga episode namin na gagawin para po sa inyo. This Wednesday, ang topic po natin is all about snoring. Yung mga naghihilig po sa inyo, yun po ang topic natin this coming Wednesday. So abangan nyo yung another episode para po sa inyo. Once again, kung hindi pa po kayo nag-subscribe, please subscribe. Please like and share this episode. Maraming salamat po. This is Dr. Mike once again. Have a great evening, everyone.